What's going on, guys? Lars here, and I'm here with who, and what did you play today?
Steven Santoli, and I got top 8 at the World Championship 2023 playing Mathmech. So the format was completely different for those who don't know. It's the combined TCG OCG ban list, which means you need to enter a deck that can be played in both events, like in TCG and OCG event at the same time. So the entire format was a bunch of neuter decks, and I decided to play Mathmech mainly for comfort. I was panicking a lot for the event on deck choice just because I didn't want to play Lab and Dragons, which are two of the better decks. And so I just decided to take a deck that was comfort and go in and just play something I know. And I think it was a good call because I definitely think I didn't even play optimal playing this deck, so it could have gone a lot worse if I was trying to learn stuff on the fly, but comfort got me there, and I think I have a good list for it.
Alright, perfect. Alright, man, let's see the list.
So play 3 Defensor and the Guardian. So we're not playing the Sphere package. This is not TCG format. There's no cash. It's completely dead in the OCG, so it's not here. So you can actually play these cards. These cards are value cards. This card's full combo, so it's Factorial Setup plus the Link 5. And they just play through hand traps really well, so you want to play them. It kind of sucks drawing both these because then it's a brick, but this card's fine to draw by itself as well. And then the second effect is if Firewall Link would be destroyed, you can protect it by banishing this card from your grave, which actually come up a few times throughout the tournament. But you just want to play value cards because you don't know what kind of hand traps people are on, so just having powerful cards is good. And then Mathmech lineup on Circular, 1 Sigma, 1 for obvious reasons, and then you play only one because you don't need multiple because you're only playing 1 Circular. 1 Nava, you need part of the combo because if you're going through the Defensor to get to the Circular, then you need to be able to send this, and this will trigger off, get your third name in the grave. Double Diameter because you have better normal summons now in the form of defense, so you don't need to play 3 to get to them all the time. It's still a good draw if you don't open the other one. 2 Addition, 2 Subtraction. People complain about these cards that they're not good cards, but they're just extenders, and they're fine. The damage modification, the attack modifications relevant sometimes just help clear up boards, and if you open a Diameter, they're good going second because you can just start with this, put it in the grave, and then get Diameter up. And the other thing is with Lab running around everywhere, opening any of these is great because you put these on the board, and then you just make Lingreable, and then it answers one of the traps immediately. So it just turns all your or easy way to answer a trap without committing to your plays further. So I think this is somewhat a standard lineup. And then 3 Parallax Seed because this is the best card. It's just 3 pluses. It's also even more broken in this format because the way it was ruled this event is the same as the OCG, where this is trigger effects in hand are quick effects if they're not visible. So you can't chain block with this, but that's fine. You can use this in a higher chain link. So if they have like a Sprint to bounce a Lingreable, or like they Ash the Defensor, then you can chain this. So it catches people off guard more as buffed, but you play it regardless. It's also your main small little bridge between any 2 cybers. And then the other reason I pushed the second is because hand traps. I didn't know what the format was really going in. I took a guess, and I just want to play a bunch of hand traps so I don't get blown up by combo if they're there. And they're still fine in mid-range matchups. I think these Ash and Imperm are kind of the standard ones. Veiler, I think, is a kind of weaker hand trap, so she just plays it in talents, but I think it was just still safe, especially with a lot of decks being neutered. On the ban list, they died hand traps more frequently, and so just having Veilers was good. And then Bellows obviously for Lab, but you also lose the Bestials really hard, and I thought there's going to be a lot of them everywhere. And I didn't play any Dragon Link, but there's a lot around. I still play Tier, so that's still a bad matchup, and the Bellows are still coverage for that. But the main thing is you just want your Factorial Resolve, and this card ensures that happens. And then I played 1 Nib because you need a second light target. Just go from Veiler into Circular, you need the light target to get to it, and it's fine by itself. I didn't really want to play more Nib because I didn't think there was going to be a super large amount of combo, and it's kind of bad versus Tier, so I think that hand trap lineup was good. 3 Minings and 3 Smaller for consistency. I almost played 2 of this because you don't really want to open both of them, but you just need to play it for consistency. And if you open these 2 together, you can always just discard the Small World off the Mining, and it's fine. And this is also really good just to do for hand traps, especially if you're playing against a no matchup, which you do know in the small tourney like this. You can just take for the hand trap that ends the game. And then other just power cards, I guess, 2 Call By and 2 Talents. I don't want to play more hand traps because I think anything beyond what I already played was less versatile, and so it's just better to play cards that are tuck cards but further your engine, and so these help deal with the hand traps, and they're still good going second. Like, this card's really good in the deck because all 3 effects are relevant. I didn't want to play 3 though because I still thought Lab was a big thing, or like Tier when they're not interacting on your turn, so I didn't want to run dead draw 2, but dead drawing 1 for the opposite side of how good the cards were fine. And I played 1 Equation, 1 Super Factorial. Some people cut this, but I think you're still supposed to play it. Going second, you don't want to search this if you're going for game shot, so you still want to be able to get the Circular because that card's insane and have Circular provide immediate value. And it's also good on the pass back, where if you're just getting to your Alan Bershin starts extender summons itself, and then, circular, Alan Bershin summons circular back, and then the extender summons itself, and then the circular triggers that way. So you're always getting to the second one, and drawing them is fine. Like, they're not the best draws, but they're not the worst. So main deck was 40. I started the main deck. Like I said, the format was really impossible to prepare for, so I think it was just good to go in with a coverage deck in terms of tech cards. And then extra deck, 1 Lingro, 1 All Mirage. I must still play 2 of this because it comes up on the pass back, but you have to play All Mirage still because there's some hands you just go hand trap into parallel, and that's how you play. 2 Splash Mage. I was almost playing 1, but again, I just want to follow up in the event that people break my board, or if I get hand trapped to death on the first turn, I want a way to play easy on the second turn. 1 Wicked, searches diameter. And this also is good with Small World because if you use your hand to play, then you can get the diameter of the Small World away into immediately another hand trap. Updated jammer for the access code game shot. 1 Heat Soul. This doesn't come up as much as you go for Link 5, but it still comes up in specific instances if you get hand trapped or if you're trying to play a value game as opposed to blowing them out. 1 transcode, 1 access code. You only play 2 access code because we're not in cash format. Alan Bershin, you should always play 2 of this. The second one always comes up on the follow-up. There's also times that it gets like striked or not, judgmented. 1 question. I really wanted to play 2 this event. I played 2 pretty much all throughout the earlier parts of the year when I was testing, but there just wasn't room. And I think in this matchup spread it was fine. It's bigger into Runic, so there's a consideration to play second, but I just couldn't justify cutting anything. And then 1 Link 5, and then the 2 targets you send off this. So this is effect negation, or not effect negation. This is the effect negation. This is a spell trap negate. So you just dump this immediately. So your inboard is Factorial plus this spell and trap negate. And then this can be dumped, and it's just target any card and negate the effect of it. I almost cut this and didn't play it, but I didn't know if there's going to be a lot of droll or like what kind of tech cards there were, so I just wanted to have more interruptions not related to my Factorial in the event that doesn't resolve. And I think it was correct. It came up a few times throughout the event. Also, if you make this, it gains 2500 attack every time you send. So on the pass back, this thing just swings over whatever, and it's just game. And then side deck, I just tried covering for more combo heavy decks. I think my hand traps to the main are more good for mid range and or against kind of more brickier decks. But I want something heavier on the side. I don't think I used Nib the entire weekend. That card was really awful. I didn't like it versus Rika because they get to Princess too much. The Drolls were good for Rika or for Dragon Link. I didn't play Dragon Link, like I said. It's not even insane versus Rika, but I think it's fine if you have combinations of hand traps. I play against 2 Rika, the one game I drolled, they passed, the other game they full combo through it, so maybe it could have been something else, but I just wanted the respect for Dragon, and then other respect for Dragon, 1 Lancer. So it seems kind of weird playing 1, but it's a small target, so it's always good to get to it. And if they ever go through passive Dragon plays, like they just end on Sphere's Pass, or you hand trap them to death, you can swallow them this, and then their follow-up, which is normally good because they're playing dragons and have Spheres as follow-up, is just stop because Lancer stops everything. It also means your Factorial is resolving. 1 Contact Seed. This should probably not be 1 of. This should probably be like a 2 or 3 of. Cut the nibs maybe. But I was playing 2 initially, and I just realized I wanted Lancia more last second, and so I cut the 1 Lancer for this. I should have had more of this. This definitely would have come up more against Rika. 1 Eccentric because it's small world MSD, so it deals with floodgates. You also need a light target in at all points because you need to have smaller bridges, so if the nibs are dead in the matchup, this is usually what's good. 1 Duster, 3 Cosmic. I didn't play any more back row mass removal because I thought people were going to expect back row mass removal because the entire form was based around Labyrinth in testing from what I heard from talking to people. So I just played Cosmics instead because it's always chainable stuff like Erad. And then 3 strikes. So this is my go first card of the event. I think a lot of people are on any spell usually in this deck, especially when you can back up with a negate, but I don't think that solves your lose conditions. Like, the way you lose with this deck is that your Factorial doesn't get resolved because of Bell or Bishils. And so flipping any spell and having that not resolve and then having just to handle all monsters is how you lose the game. So I don't like that. I don't think you need an additional winning condition in this deck. You need to remove your lose conditions, and then having Factorial in this just ends the game because it means your Factorial is resolving, you're removing another card from your hand, and it only came up once where I hit the Bell off the strike, but it just auto wins the game. It's also fine in vacuum. Like, if you don't get the full combo, this is just fine, as opposed to any spell, which, you know, if you're getting hand trapped to death, it doesn't do anything. So that was my list. Overall, I think I was happy with the deck. It was, I think, relatively simple, which I wanted going into this event. I think going in, trying to overcomplicate a deck like this for a really open format and for a format that's hard to test for because no one else is playing other than the world's competitors and people helping them test. going in and overcomplicating it means that you're just gonna potentially get a bad meta read, or you're gonna be overwhelmed, especially when you're at Worlds and you feel a lot of pressure. So going with comfort was something I was happy with, and I lost to Vanquishol in top 8. I got Flag Day both games, and I think that's something I could have done more to prevent. I lost to TCW and then shifter into TCW, but I usually try to have more answers to these types of cards in my deck list. I just didn't have the real time to develop it further, so I think that was more of a deck building error on my part, or at least maybe I could have had more ways, and then I could have said, look at that, and then I got unlucky. But I think that was a fair loss on my part. I knew I was losing those cards, and I just accepted the loss in my submitted list. But apart from that, the Swiss went really well, and I was happy with how the deck performed otherwise.
Awesome, man. Do you have any shoutouts?
Yes, so I'll go through the list quickly. So shout out to everyone who helped me test, everyone back at locals as well. So main testing, I guess I should go through is Emad, Thomas, Rob, Nigel, Ryan, Aaron, James, Eric, Alec, and Vivek. Also a special shout out to the main reason I got to Worlds, which is Rayon. He helped me throughout the entire course of the year and continuously gave me advice and what he thought about was good in the format. And throughout the entirety of the year, I just did the opposite, and then it got me to Worlds. So huge shout out to him for his advice. And yeah, thanks.
Okay, awesome, man. And it was great having you as a teammate over the weekend. Congratulations again, and thank you for the profile.